Hi, welcome to She Spice. There have forever been a few tales conjecturing that Diddy and Harvey Weinstein have been working together to draw entertainers and exploit them. Now, apparently, Joe Rogan is additionally guessing that it could be conceivable that Diddy and Harvey might have baited Matt Damon, and due to some tension, he never talked against Harvey and Diddy. Joe Rogan has had well-established worries about the elites inside media outlets. This hypothesis escalated during the January 1951 episode of the JRE digital recording, where Rogan facilitated YouTuber CoffeeZilla as his visitors' conversation fixated on the continuous test inside Hollywood. Rogan delivered an interesting perspective, taking note of the fact that on stage, people get significant consideration and appreciation during seasons of accomplishment anyway. When entertainers experience misfortunes or vocation slumps, they frequently experience separation, with fewer individuals ready to take part in significant discussions with them. You've fostered your own show, and you've made your own thing. You haven't been picked in Hollywood. The issue is that you're being picked for everything, so you're being projected into these things. Joe Rogan raised serious, difficult worries about the security of youthful specialists in Hollywood, featuring the disrupting projecting practices utilized by industry elites. During a web recording conversation, the 55-year-old host underlined how entertainers frequently feel constrained to adjust their characters to match the assumptions of the people who have the ability to project them in films. He noted that in Hollywood, you're chosen for everything, so you're being projected in these things. You need to explore connections with the people who support or reject you. In this way, you're forming your character in light of the predominant zeit, or the philosophies of most makers. Joe further dove into the speculative situation of how Hollywood could work with a conservative philosophy, igniting hypotheses that he was tending to the problematic projecting works on including females in the business anyway. Rogan explained that entertainers frequently adjust to industry standards not out of private conviction, but rather to fit in and secure an effective profession. He contended that these entertainers shape their convictions and conclusions in light of what they see as the way to progress as opposed to unbendingly sticking to a particular belief system. So you need to manage individuals that support you or pick you, so you're planning your character in view of anything. The outlook is whatever the philosophy of the majority of the makers are individuals' hypotheses on this matter are grounded in a background marked by such models that have been noticeable from the very beginning. The general population is very much aware of the requests put on youthful female entertainers by projecting specialists when they enter the business with the goal of adding to society through their work, whether it's the development of movies like The Craftsman, Shakespeare in Adoration, or The English Patient, The Sovereigns conceived Harvey Weinstein. A sequential has reliably exhibited his ability for making compelling period films in the midst of the Best Picture Oscars granted to these films. Maybe he ought to have gotten some margin to study Hollywood's set of experiences all the more intently. His contribution in the projecting lounge chair practice, where strong white men exploit youthful entertainers, endeavoring to set up a good foundation for themselves in the film industry, mirrors a verifiable point of reference as old as the film business itself. Joe has raised a basic worry by highlighting these models and people who add to making the media outlet progressively trying for ladies. He states that it stays a troublesome way for females to seek after their fantasies in this field, since they frequently face typification. What's more, abuse, he said. Obviously, that's the reason they're all insane. He then included Hollywood. It's far and away more terrible since you don't get to pick your own fate. These comments sparked a response from audience members, summoning a range of feelings, especially when Joe examined the dubious party culture inside the business. Many started to form associations with the ongoing circumstances, including Diddy in one more episode of JRE. Joe Rogan had a cordial gathering with his long-term companion and previous JRE maker, Brian Redban. They thought back and traded accounts of their undertakings. Joe dove into the novel idea of Los Angeles, portraying his encounters at a birthday celebration, facilitated by the eminent model and entertainer Naomi Campbell. For those new, Naomi Campbell likewise acquired consideration for her relationship with Iron Mike Tyson. As per Rogan, said that party was completely unusual. Rogan got going, depicting his experience of law, expressing that carrying on with your life in law can be downright awful for the psycho. There could be no weather conditions. Everybody's attempting to get well known, and you're additionally managing these odd individuals. He then moved to portraying the odd party he had been, to act as an illustration of the insane things around law. The previous military craftsman expressed that I showed up for this unusual party once in the Hollywood slopes with Chapel. Rogan additionally portrayed how he wound up at the party, reviewing that they were hanging out at the store. They did sets, and Dave was like, "I need to hit up this party with me." I got out whatever it is. He said it's Naomi Campbell's birthday. Now, this is what he saw from Matt's way of behaving too. In Hollywood, the quest for jobs can at times include compromising. Uprightness for an open door, and Matt Damon has turned into a point of convergence of these conversations. Tales have flowed recommending that he forfeited respectability for progression in the entertainment world anyway. Damon is presently tending to these bits of gossip, stating that he isn't the only one in exploring this predicament. He recognizes that numerous people in the business have confronted comparable tensions to think twice about values for the charm of abundance and popularity you cut. As stand to not make all of your cash when it played in the theater, since you realized you had the DVD coming behind the delivery, and a half year after the fact, you'd get All You Know an entire another piece. As of late, Matt Damon has been the subject of bits of gossip, blaming him for selling his spirit, adding to an apparent negative picture in the media. Curiously, his nearby colleague and individual entertainer, Ben Affleck, has openly remarked on the circumstances. Affleck recommends that outside pressures from powerful figures inside the business might have impacted Damon's quest for distinction anyway. Affleck has not explained the particular purposes for this supposed compulsion, showing that he might have experienced the circumstances in which you realize survivors are getting comfortable with themselves, and individuals are similar to you, and I remember myself for truly finding the awful degree of this issue. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have to be sure chipped away at various undertakings with Harvey Weinstein, an unmistakable figure in the entertainment world. In the past, Affleck openly lauded Weinstein for his help and contribution in their cooperative endeavors at the 1997 Oscars. When Affleck won an honor for altruism hunting, he recognized Weinstein's faith in their venture, expressing Harvey Weinstein, who put stock in us and made this film anyway. A few watchers noticed that Affleck showed up to some degree anxious during his acknowledgement discourse, which has since ignited hypothesis and investigation. Given the later disclosures of about Weinstein's wrongdoing, of us to thank Harvey Weinstein, who trusted in us and made this film Gus and Sands for splendid heading as time elapsed and Harvey's real essence was presented to the world. Ben Affleck took to his Facebook record to express his consternation and outrage. He expressed that he was disheartened and incensed that somebody he had once teamed up with had the ability to threaten and control numerous ladies over many years. The new charges I read earlier today were profoundly upsetting. Affleck commented that he happened to address what moves he could make to keep this from happening to others. We should stand by the people who approach censure with such a way of behaving when we witness it, and work towards enabling more women to hold powerful jobs. Affleck closed. There are likewise statements that Ben Affleck was among those hailed by Harvey Weinstein for possibly addressing writers in 2017 about his lead with ladies. This rundown, known as the Warning Rundown, was affirmed by assortment upon examination going before the Hazardous reports that energized the #Me Too development and credited to Weinstein's destruction. Assuming you seeing it this pervasive, in this industry, it should stretch out into money tech and this different on spots, and it's truly upsetting. And apparently this rundown was only one piece of around 1,000 pages of reports that were unlocked at the New York City Criminal Town Hall, preceding Harvey Weinstein's condemning all through Weinstein's 7-week preliminary. This record was referred to. However, just the name of informer Annabella Sora was revealed as being remembered. For the rundown, the lead investigator endeavored to present the whole rundown containing names of all kinds of people to the jury for their thought anyway. The judge at last denied this solicitation, a truly significant second. It seems like when you realize survivors are getting comfortable with themselves, and individuals are similar to and I remember myself for this, truly finding the horrendous degree there's hypothesis among certain people that on the off chance that Ben Affleck's name showed up on the rundown, Matt Damon's name could have been incorporated too. This hypothesis originates from the possibility that Matt Damon might have likewise been a casualty of Harvey Weinstein and possibly had negative encounters with him, particularly thinking about Ben Subscribe She Spice for more videos.